The Virginia Horse Industry Board, Southwest Virginia Agricultural Association, and the Virginia Christmas Tree Growers Association are proud sponsors of Virginia farming.
This program's brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Large or small, Virginia farmers work year-round to help put food on your table. And Farm Bureau works year-round to help farmers and all Virginians. Farming, it's all good. To learn more, go to vafarmbureau.org.
Polaris, featuring its hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicle, the more powerful Sportsman 850 HO and the workhorse Ranger XP. Hunt, farm, or trail, Polaris has a vehicle for them all at Polaris.com.
Hi everybody, welcome to Virginia Farming. I'm Amy Rocher. Congressman Bob Goodlatte has been an advocate of Virginia farmers for years. We'll talk to Bob about some important issues facing farmers when he joins us on Ag Insights. Then we'll learn about growing fresh herbs when we go in the garden. And we'll have the Ag Calendar, a destination spotlight, and a Minute in the Field video. All this plus the Ag News of the Week on this edition of Virginia Farming. A record number of FFA members from throughout the country attended the 2012 National FFA Convention in Indianapolis in late October. The convention had more than 56,000 attendees, and that's almost 3,000 more members in attendance from last year. At the conclusion of the convention, University of Florida at Gainesville student Clay Sapp was elected to serve as National FFA President. Next year, the convention and expo heads to Louisville for a 3-year run there before coming back to Indianapolis in 2016. As the nation's cow herd continues to decrease, many cattle feeders are left struggling to fill their pens. In this segment from Certified Angus Beef and the American Angus Association, we learn what it will take for feed yards to survive this environment. Cindy Campbell reports.
When it comes to the feeder calf supply,
there's not enough to go around. There's going to be empty pens. I want that guy to have an empty pen, not me.
The nation's cow herd was at 90.8 million head to start 2012. But as summer turned to fall, drought had hit 3/4 of that herd. So the analyst expects it to shrink another million head or more by January 2013.
We've seen some extremely tight packer operating margins over the last year. That's unsustainable. We're looking at sizable cattle feeding losses at the present time. Those are unsustainable. And again, it probably boils down to some change in the structural capacity within the industry.
Management and marketing will separate the successful cattle feeders from the struggling.
I think it boils down to, from an individual feeder standpoint, probably getting to the point where they work out on marketing agreements, working relationships, not only marketing agreements with packers as a possibility, but also to access feeder cattle, either in terms of retained ownership programs, that type of thing. It works for an individual feeder. I don't want to say it's a boutique kind of thing, but that's the kind of environment that I think we're in.
Value added isn't just a buzzword, but a solid game plan. Sands explains.
That's going to require doing some things differently than we've done in the past. The typical commodity business, when an individual cattle feeder is competing against huge cattle feeding operations, they're at a competitive advantage. And they're going to have to figure out ways, either in terms of acquisition of raw materials, financial management, risk management programs, or something else to create a niche within which they can thrive.
Because the reality is, not everybody will. I'm Cindy Campbell.
Thank you, Cindy. 6th District Congressional Representative Bob Goodlatte talks about the ethanol mandate and the Farm Bill and how they affect farmers and consumers here in Virginia. That's coming up on Ag Insights. Congressman Bob Goodlatte represents Virginia's 6th District and has been a longtime advocate of Virginia farmers. Here to talk about federal issues affecting our farmers is Bob Goodlatte. Bob, welcome to Virginia Farming.
It's great to be with you and your viewers.
Thanks. It's really great for you to be here today, taking time out of your busy schedule. I wanted to first start with the ethanol mandate. I know that you are trying to get it halted for right now. Can you tell us what the mandate is and how it's affecting our farmers?
Sure. The mandate comes from something called the Renewable Fuel Standard, which is an effort by the federal government to have more of our fuels in the country produced from renewable resources like corn off of farms. And the objective of producing more off of farms is certainly a good one, but in this case, the federal government has, I think, made a major misstep. They put the heavy hand of government on one side of the scale, the side that says we should use corn to produce ethanol, and that has been unfair to not only livestock farmers who have to buy that same corn to feed their poultry, their beef cattle, their dairy cows. We don't have a lot of hogs in the Shenandoah Valley, but it also affects hog farmers in other parts of the country. And so the net effect of it is that on the one hand, an ethanol plant is guaranteed a market for the ethanol they have to produce, because for the next 10 years, the government is going to require that each year more and more ethanol be produced, and until you reach 36 billion gallons by the year 2022. But if you're a livestock producer, you have no guarantee that anybody has to buy your turkeys or your beef, whatever the case might be. And so what it's having the effect of doing is the government is guaranteeing a market for the ethanol producers at the expense of higher costs, not only for the livestock producers, but also for consumers when they see higher food prices. And by the way, not just higher prices for beef and poultry and so on, but all food prices, because if you're growing wheat and you see corn up above $8 a bushel, pushing to $9 a bushel, you're going to stop planting wheat and you're going to start planting corn. That means the wheat supply in the country goes down, and it means the price of wheat goes up as well as corn, and it affects other commodities as well.
Well, and I think the other issue here too is the drought that we experienced this summer. I think they said our corn yields were lower than they have been since 1995.
Yes, it's the lowest in several years, at least since I think 2005 or 2006. But here's the thing, each year since then we've been increasing the amount that has to go for ethanol production, so the supply available for other uses, the primary other use being feeding livestock, is shrunk dramatically. And we've been saying for years that this is a bad idea, but it's going to be much worse if we had a severe drought. And we've had a severe drought. So even though the growth in the production of corn has been very substantial around the country, it has raised this issue of what do you do when the supply suddenly drops because we just didn't produce enough. Well, the law has a provision in it that says the administrator of the EPA, Lisa Jackson, can suspend the mandate. This was tried 3 years ago with a less severe drought. She refused to do it then, in spite of being importuned to do it by a number of governors, including, I think, Virginia's governor. Now, this time around, those governors have stepped up again, but so has the Congress. I was instrumental in getting 156 bipartisan signers of a letter to the administrator to say, now is the time to suspend this mandate while corn prices are so high and the availability of corn so low. So we sent that to the administrator. She has held open a public comment period, which has just expired, and she's to make a decision by early November. And when that occurs, we'll see whether this law really works as it's intended to. If she does not suspend the mandate, then I have legislation in the Congress which would automatically do what we're asking her to do. In other words, if corn stocks fall below a certain level, it would automatically trigger suspending that. Now, that is a good temporary solution to this problem, but in my opinion, it's not going to address the long-term concern, because if you increase the requirements over 10 years, even with good corn crops, we cannot continue to keep up with this forced government additional demand, and therefore livestock farmers are going to suffer higher costs of production. More of them will go out of business. We'll be at risk of losing some of our poultry operations, and we may wind up importing more poultry into the United States and beef, and we certainly don't need to be doing that. So ultimately what I'd like to see is the renewable fuel standard eliminated. We can phase that out over time because I know people have made substantial investments in ethanol plants, but if ethanol is a good product, it should be able to stand on its own just like the good quality poultry and beef and dairy products that are produced here in the Valley.
I want to move on now to the Farm Bill. Secretary Vilsack has been pushing Congress to get this bill passed. You are familiar with it, and I would like for you to educate our viewers and myself what is in this bill and what is your stance on passing this Farm Bill?
In my opinion, this Farm Bill does not address the problems that we have in our current times. First of all, we're facing enormous national debts that we didn't have. We had them, but not nearly the magnitude. They're 4 times as large as they were in the years leading up to the last Farm Bill. $1.2 trillion on average each year. And therefore, this bill, which cuts food stamps by 2% and farm programs by 10% when the government is borrowing nearly 40% of what it spends, is not sufficient. It's also not fair to the farm side of this, which is only, by the way, 20% of the Farm Bill actually is
20%.
Not just for farmers, by the way. That's all rural America. Programs for rural communities and so on, and programs for farmers together are 20%, and food stamps are 79% of this program. That's up from the last Farm Bill. And the other thing that's important to note is that food stamps have grown by 270% in terms of how much we're spending on them. They're over $70 billion a year now, and there are major reforms that need to take place there. There were some small reforms made in the bill that passed out of the committee. Slightly better, by the way, than what was done in the Senate. The Senate has passed an entire Farm Bill. It only reduces spending on reform spending, because it doesn't reduce it. It's still going up, but going up at a slightly slower rate, 0.5%. That's all they have done to address this program that's grown 270%. They've reduced it, reformed it by 0.5%. The House by 2%. But you know what? We can do much, much more. Secondly, with regard to the part of the Farm Bill that works with regard to farmers, I think there are some problems there as well. First of all, we have a sugar program, and while we don't have much, if any, sugar production around here, we have a lot of sugar consumption here because we have right here in the Shenandoah Valley some major companies that employ thousands of people that use large quantities of sugar, like Hershey's down in Stewart's Draft, and Little Debbie Snack Cakes, McKee Foods down in Stewart's Draft. They are having to pay more for their sugar because of the sugar policy in the U.S. Farm Bill, the current Farm Bill, that excludes sugar coming in an easy fashion from outside the country when they don't produce enough in the country. And therefore, we're finding that some candy manufacturers and other large users of sugar are going across the border into Canada and other places where they can have access to the international sugar prices and not these artificially increased prices that we get in the U.S. market. So I offered an amendment in the committee. It was defeated, and quite frankly, I think that that program needs to be significantly reformed, if not completely eliminated. Then we have the dairy program. Now, the dairy program is in need of reform, and this bill does have some reforms in it that are good for our dairy program and for our dairy farmers here in the Shenandoah Valley. But it also has a very bad provision called supply management. And basically what this does is it sets up a program that says that when there's overproduction of dairy products and the price falls, that the government will pay out an insurance payment to farmers for that reduction in price, but only if the farmers reduce the supply, the size of their herds. And this applies not only to big farms in New Mexico and Texas and California and other places where they might have 5,000 or 10,000 cows on one farm, but it also applies to the very small dairy farms that you find here and even smaller ones in other parts of the country. They also would be required by the government. The government would say, you either reduce the number of cows in your herd or you're not going to receive these payments. I think that's a very bad way to deal with this. The correct way to deal with it is when you have oversupply, to take advantage of the fact that you have a product at a lower price, a quality product at a lower price, and push more international sales. But the companies that we rely upon to export their dairy products around the world can't get access to markets if they can't guarantee they're going to be able to produce when they need to. And if right at the moment when they can offer a really good price in a foreign market, they're seeing the government in the U.S. cut back on the dairy herds, they're not going to be able to do that. So in my opinion, that's a bad solution to this problem.
We really appreciate you looking out for our farmers, not only in Virginia, but your vote counts nationwide.
I want to mention also that the real problem, in my opinion, for farmers here in the Shenandoah Valley is not the size of their farms or their access to markets, because we are very close to the largest population centers in the United States here on the East Coast, very centrally located. And that's a great thing for our farmers. But they're facing more and more regulations from the EPA, which quite frankly is too close to the Shenandoah Valley, and they've been sending inspectors down here to inspect some of our smallest farms because early in his term, President Obama signed an executive order that gave the EPA the ability to take power away from the states and impose federal requirements where the Clean Water Act, designed to protect watersheds like the Chesapeake Bay watershed, which is very, very important. All of us want to have a cleaner bay. We want to see the bay continue to improve in its health. But we have to do it in a way that makes good sense and is done in a way that doesn't drive farmers and other businesses out of business and local governments to spend millions of dollars they can't afford. So I have introduced legislation which helps to restrain the EPA from doing things that they're not allowed, in my opinion and the opinion of many others, under the Clean Water Act, and to continue to give the states the opportunity to manage the program. The federal law says the federal government gets to set the standard because water goes across state lines, but the states get to implement the programs to meet the standards. And the states have done that, and Virginia and other states have made a lot of progress in cleaning up the bay. Sedimentation has been reduced by more than 50%, phosphorus and nitrogen by more than 40%, but our farmers aren't getting credit for that. Instead, they're being made the scapegoats for those who only want to look at it from the vantage point of over at the Chesapeake Bay and not at the vantage point of this has got to be something that works both in the Shenandoah Valley and in the Chesapeake Bay. The way the state was doing it balanced those interests. They're both in the state of Virginia, and we need to have that continue. So my legislation allows the state to continue to manage this program and work with farmers to meet the goals and improve the health of the bay.
Well, that's good, because farmers don't need anything to make their jobs any harder. That's for sure.
That's right. It is a major challenge, and my hat goes off to the people here, the small percentage of our population that feeds this whole country. Just 2% of the population is engaged in farming. When our country was formed, it was more like 90%, and 10% lived in cities. Today, those 2% produce far, far more than the 90% did because of new technologies, great innovation, but also a lot of hard work on the part of America's farmers.
You are right about that. Thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Growing your own fresh herbs will help save money, and you don't even need a garden. Here's Mark Viette.
You know, when you go to the food store, a lot of times you'll see packs of herbs or herbs in bundles. And a lot of times they're pretty expensive. But not only that, when you take them home and put them in the refrigerator, they may only last a week or so. One of the things that you can do right in your own backyard, you don't even need a garden, you can even live in an apartment, you can grow your own herbs. Now, if you do have a garden, some herbs you can just put in your garden, let them grow naturally, just like this bronze fennel here, which just slowly reseeds itself through the garden. Bronze fennel I really like because it's got that sweet licorice type flavor. So when you use that in certain salad dressings and things, it gives you that sweetness that takes the tartness away from some of your other herbs. You know, there's so many herbs that you can choose from in a garden, but I like a couple that I think are pretty much the mainstays that you should really focus on. Of course, one is dill, great plant for that flavor. Rosemary is good to use, especially for fish and meats and even lamb. And there's quite a few different varieties of rosemary. I pretty much like the upright type. Then we have tarragon, which also has sort of that sweet flavor. Oregano, and you want to make sure you really try to get the true oregano that has that great flavor. Cilantro, now Personally, cilantro tastes like soap to me, but a lot of people love cilantro. So you can grow that in your garden. And parsley is really easy to grow. And in fact, you can even have it for 2 years in your garden. There's both the curly type, and then there's also the broadleaf type that looks just like celery. Basil, you really can't get away from growing herbs and not growing your basil. And there's different varieties of basil. Some have spicy flavors, some have sweet flavors. There's purple leaf basil. But a lot of times I just like the regular green basil. So you can have all these plants out in your garden. I usually recommend right behind your back door, away from maybe where you use your lawn chemicals and things, because I like to grow my herbs with as few chemicals as possible. Container gardening is very simple with herbs. One of the things, though, you do need to remember is you need to be sure that your container has a drainage hole in the bottom of it, because what you'll find if you overwater your herbs, they tend to decline and they won't produce a lot of new growth that you can use in your cooking. And this is a container here, and just, plant as many herbs as you want in one container. Here we have the prostrate rosemary. Here we have thyme, basil, dill, and parsley all in one container. And the great thing about container gardening with herbs is you can bring this container indoors during the winter months and enjoy fresh herbs all winter long. When you trim your herbs, you want to try to get the fresh, new growth. It's real important that you try to bypass some of the older growth that might look yellow, or it becomes a little harder and tougher and it's really not as edible. So I just come through and tip the herbs, a little bit of rosemary, a little bit of tarragon, a little bit of thyme, a little bit of basil, oregano, just a sprig or two of each, a little bit of parsley, a little bit of fennel, and I just rinse off the foliage, and I just take this little handful of herbs and I put it in a blender. And then on top of it, I pour my favorite salad dressing, which just might be oil and vinegar. Just blend it for a couple seconds. You can pour it over your salad, and there's nothing like tasting fresh herbs from the garden. I'm Mark Viette. Join me next time in the garden.
Taking a look at the upcoming events on our ag calendar, the 2012 Virginia Farm to Table Conference will be held December 5th and 6th at Blue Ridge Community College in Weir's Cave. Speakers and panelists will address critical challenges surrounding a sustainable local food system. Now, individuals and groups interested in boosting local and regional economies, working to develop and grow community enterprises and startup businesses, and supporting local agriculture and conservation of natural resources are all encouraged to attend. To register, visit the website on your screen or call Virginia Cooperative Extension by Friday, November 30th. The cost for the two-day conference is $80, and a one-day discounted rate is available for students and producers. Our destination spotlight this week takes us to Ticonderoga Farms in Chantilly. Now, events are held throughout the year, and guests can enjoy hay forts, roasting s'mores, Virginia's longest swing bridge, a demonstration gardens, even antique tractors and machinery. Be sure to visit ticonderoga.com for more information. Well, that does it for our show this week. Have a great week, everyone. I'm Amy Rocher for Virginia Farming.
This program's brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. From apples to zucchini, Virginia farmers work hard to put food on your table. And Farm Bureau works year-round to help farmers and all Virginians. Farming, it's all good. To learn more, go to vafarmbureau.org.
Polaris, featuring its hardest working, smoothest riding off-road vehicle, the multi-passenger room for 6 Ranger Crew and the 2-seated Ranger 500. Hunt, farm, or trail, Polaris has a vehicle for them all at Polaris.com.